So congratulations.
Thank you very much.
I was actually on the set in Turkey, and I remember you talking about wanting to create this film that really honored the classic Bond tropes and still allowed it to evolve and usher it into the modern age. So it's really nice to see that come to life on screen as an audience member.
Thank you very much.
This is what I really loved, that you were able to intercut the narrative aspects with kind of the action sequences. It felt like a real celebration of not just Bond, but cinema to me.
Wow.
So I have an odd take. Do you think your background in theater maybe helped you come up with a fresh way or a fresh approach to action sequences?
Well, you know, for me, when people say background in theatre, I always think it's a background in storytelling. You know,
right.
I spent 20 years telling stories that last 2 hours to a bunch of people in a room and feeling when they got bored, basically, and when they were held. So I've spent thousands of hours of my life doing that. So of course it rubs off on some level. And for me, the problem with action a lot of the time in contemporary films is that the story stops, you get the action sequence, goes on for 10 minutes, and then it starts again. And the action is kind of fetishized, you know, how big can we make it, how loud can we make it, how cool can we make it, but there's nothing else going on except the action. So you're asked to just study it and somehow detached from the film, you know, so that when you leave it's like, hey, it was really cool when that exploded, as opposed to it being integrated properly into the action. So wherever possible, we tried to create parallel action. So you're never trapped in a linear chase. It's never A chasing B. But in the opening sequence, for example, it's Bond chasing Patrice, you know, and it's a car chase, and then it's a shootout, and then it's on motorbikes, and then it goes across a rooftop, and then they're on a train. So it's like a series of Russian dolls that you keep thinking it's going to be one thing, and then it's another. But then also Eve is following them in a car and communicating back to MI6, and there's M and Tanner who have more information than Bond has, and are gradually losing touch with him and trying to interpret what's going on by using CCTV and satellite. So the three things are balanced with each other, and you're moving three strands to create one climax. And that's what we did throughout, and that's the case in all the action sequences, so that you don't feel the action beginning at a given point. It sort of flows into it and out of it, and there's no sense of beginning or ending. So that's something that just was how I wanted to approach it. And it's more to do with story than to do with action, you know. And you know, you do have huge action set pieces, but hopefully we don't stop in order to see them.
Not at all, and they're still really fun to watch. They're very satisfying viscerally as well, so that's cool. As you're getting the story, I have to talk to you about Javier Bardem's.
Yes.
Obviously, so many of us are already calling this one of our favorite, if not our favorite Bond villain. Certainly in a long time. But what I really love is that he's this perfect alternate universe mirror for Bond. So it brings out that character even more. I have my take, but I want to know what you were trying to highlight about the character of Bond via the depiction of Silva. Well,
that's a brilliant question. Because yes, you're right, he is Bond's doppelganger, basically. And there's a reason why he's almost his negative image at the beginning. You know, when you first meet him, Bond is dressed in black, Javier is dressed in white. You know, and I always had an image of a kind of fallen angel, somebody who was once good and had turned bad, but had been turned bad by M, and one act. And so really it was a very simple revenge story. But what you say about Bond being, Bond's, as it were, Bondishness being revealed by being presented with its opposite is very true as well, because it makes, in that moment, Bond almost goes back to his old self. And I think one of my favourite scenes in the picture is when they first meet. And it's a great source of pride to me that people talk as much about that scene, which is effectively a 6-minute static dialogue scene, as they do about the action sequences. And it just shows you that just because a movie is a franchise movie or it's a genre movie, that an audience will still, if they're interested enough and if the story is well told enough, they will still be as gripped by something very, very simple as they will by any number of complex, you know, izzy-wizzy gadgets and big explosions. So yeah, I think it's something that was also an enormous pleasure to shoot, you know, because you have Javier Bardem and Daniel Craig at the top of their game. They're very big fans of each other. They knew it was their first scene together, and they were both up for it. And you can feel that sense of mischief and fun and mutual respect in the scene somewhere too.
Thank you so much. Such a pleasure. We're looking forward to having this on AMC.